Real estate exam vocabulary. Define each word or phrase using as few words as possible. OR rule. Suffix implying giving. Grantor, optionor, vendor. EE rule. Suffix implying receiving. Grantee, optionee, vendee. Bundle of rights. Rights that are inherent in property ownership. Real property. Runs with the property, generally immovable. Personal property. Runs with a person, generally movable. Chattel real. Personal property. Fixture. Incorporated into the land. It is considered real property. Trade fixture. Business office is considered personal property. Riparian rights. Moving body of water. Example, property adjacent to a river. Littoral rights. Not moving water. Example, property adjacent to a lake. Accretion. Increases the size of the property. Avulsion. Sudden tearing away of land. Example would be a dam breaking. Reliction. Water recedes and new land is acquired. Appurtenances. Runs with the land. Freehold estate. Unlimited in duration. Ownership. Fee simple estate. Absolute ownership, not free from all encumbrances, such as taxes. Fee simple defeasible has a condition that can cause loss of title. Life estate. Ownership based upon the life of another. Holder of the life estate. Entitled to property that is held in a life estate. Estate in reversion. Held by grantor of the original conveyance. Estate in remainder. Would be a reversion, but instead transferred to someone other than the grantor. Less than freehold estate. Limited in duration. Example, leases. Estate for years. Defined period of time and termination date. Example, a summer rental. Periodic tenancy. From period to period, such as month to month or week to week. Estate at will. Can end at any time. Estate at sufferance. Stays after lease expires. Lease. Personal property. It is a type of encumbrance. Percentage lease. Percentage of gross receipts. Net lease. Taxes, insurance, and maintenance, also known as a triple net lease. Gross lease pays a set fee. Sandwich lease. Lessor is also a lessee, also known as a sublet. Subleases. Lessor is also a lessee, also known as a sandwich lease. Tenant improvement allowance. Agreement from the landlord to compensate the tenant for all or portion of the funds required to construct the commercial space. Abandonment. Release of responsibility and or ownership. Assignment. Giving responsibility and or ownership to another. Surrender. Release of responsibility and or ownership. Constructive eviction. Landlord either does something or fails to do something that he has a legal duty to provide. Estoppel statement. Signed statement by a party certifying for another's benefit that certain facts are correct. It defined each party's responsibility in a commercial lease. Deeds. Evidence of transfer. Quitclaim deed. Immediate transfer of ownership. Warranty deed. Grantor guarantees that he or she holds clear title and has the right to sell. Special warranty deed. Guarantees clear title for the duration of the previous owner. General warranty deed guarantees clear title for the life of the property. Title is ownership. Legal title is the right to sell. Equitable title, the right of possession and the right to gain equity. Chain of title, history of ownership, conveyances, and encumbrances. Abstract of title is a summary of title. Cloud on title, defect in the title, such as a single woman who gets married and changes her name after the ownership is conveyed. A quiet title action removes the cloud on title. Alienation of title, voluntary act of an owner disposing of the property. Alienation of title, voluntary act of an owner disposing of the property. Title insurance insures against defects entitled to real property. Severalty, sole ownership. Concurrent estates, more than one person owns. Joint tenancy, unity of time, title, interest, and possession, and has the right of survivorship. Tenancy in common, unity of possession, no right of survivorship. Encumbrances, anything that limits the property. Easement, the right to cross another person's land. Dominant tenement, the property with the right of crossing. Servient tenement, the property that is being crossed, the property that is encumbered, and they cannot revoke the easement. Easement by prescription, implied easement granted after the dominant estate has used the property in a hostile, continuous, and open manner for a statutory prescribed number of years. Appurtenant easement, easement that transfers with the transfer of title. Easement in gross, no dominant tenement. Government powers, P, police power, SG, taxes, and eminent domain. Police power, regulations implemented for public health, safety, and general welfare. Zoning, manner governments control development of land and the kinds of uses. Zoning is a police power. Building codes, set of rules that specify the standards for construction. Building codes is a police power. R3, multifamily residential. Variance, granted exception to the rule. Downzoning, commercial to residential. Non-conforming use, use that was allowed under the prior zoning regulations. Grandfather clause, old rule continues to apply to some existing situations. When zoning changes, but owners are allowed to continue with the non-conforming uses, this is a grandfather clause. Escheat, goes to the state when somebody dies without a will and without heirs. Intestate, no will. Testate, has a will. Holographic will, entirely handwritten. Probate, process of allocating assets of the deceased. 1031 tax-deferred exchange, like kind, 45 days to identify, 180 days to close. Boot, cash or other property added to exchange to make the value equal. Ad valorem, according to value. Eminent domain, government's ability to take private property for public use while requiring just compensation to be paid. Condemnation, process of paying when property is taken under eminent domain. Inverse condemnation, suing the government when the property was taken under eminent domain and just compensation was not paid. Encroachment, one property crosses the property line to another. Liens, owe money, private restrictions and easements are not liens. General lien, can take all property. Examples are income tax and judgment liens. Specific liens, can take a specific property. Examples are mortgages and property tax. Voluntary lien, option to have a debt. Examples are mortgage. Involuntary lien, no option to have a debt. Example would be taxes. Mechanics lien, security interest in the title to property for the benefit of those who have supplied labor or materials that improve the property. Judgment lien, court-ordered debt. Lease pendants, lawsuit pending. Injunctions, a court order to stop. Constructive notice, a person or entity should have known as a reasonable person would have. Actual notice, a given legally sufficient assurance that actual knowledge of the matter has been conveyed. Acknowledgement. Authenticate legal instruments which may give the instrument legal validity. Escrow, neutral third party. A debit, money owed. A credit, money received. Short rate, penalty method of calculating return premium of an insurance policy. Impounds, method of collecting debts that take priority over the loan. RESPA, disclosures of settlement costs and to eliminate abusive practices. Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. TILA, provide complete disclosure of lending fees and practices. Truth in Lending Act. Fair Housing Act, 1968, and prevents discrimination. Jones v. Mayer, 1968 court case prohibiting discrimination. Sherman Antitrust Act, promotes free market competition. America with Disabilities Act, all public property must be accessible to everybody. Material fact, something a reasonable person would recognize. A buyer's race is never a material fact. Steering, discriminating when working with buyers. Blockbusting, inducing sellers using discrimination. Panic selling, inducing sellers using discrimination. Panic peddling, inducing sellers using discrimination. Redlining, choosing where to provide financing based upon race or ethnicity. Misrepresentation, legal right to rescind. Actual fraud, full intention. Constructive fraud, misleading without intention. Negative fraud, lying through omission. Commingling, mixing money. Conversion, using the client's money. Puffing is exaggerating. Caveat emptor, buyer beware. Contract essentials, agreement, capable parties, lawful object, and consideration. Valid contract contains all four essentials of a contract. Void contract lacks one of the four essentials. Voidable contract has the option to rescind. Bilateral contract, 2 promises. Unilateral contract, 1 promise. Executed contract, all the terms of the contracts have been fulfilled. Executory contract, a contract is yet to be completed. Statute of frauds states what must be in writing. Statute of limitation states what are the necessary time durations. Ratification, signing or giving formal consent to agreement, make it official to be valid. Novation, new. Codicil is an amendment. Agency, accountability, confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure, a code. Fiduciary, loyalty. Actual authority, specific powers expressly conferred by principle. Ostensible authority, when a reasonable third party would understand that an agent had authority to act. Dual agent, represents buyer and seller. Universal agent, broad authority to act on behalf of the principal for an unlimited time. General agent, broad authority to act on behalf of the principal for a limited time. Special agent, limited authority to act on behalf of the principal for a limited time. Attorney in fact, the authorization to act for another through the power of attorney. Estoppel precludes a person from asserting something contrary to what is implied by a previous action or statement. Listing, employment contract. Exclusive listing, one broker and must have a definite termination date. Exclusive agency, one broker, if owner sells, no commission will be paid. Evidence of procuring cause is needed. Exclusive authorization and right to sell listing. Commission gets paid to the broker if the property sells, no procuring cause is needed. Open listing, multiple brokers can be hired. Evidence of procuring cause is needed. Net listing, money received above a designated amount. Protection period clause, also known as a safety clause, can earn commission after listing expires. Contingency clause, a condition or action that must be met for a real estate contract to become binding. Hold harmless clause, both parties agree not to hold the other party responsible for any loss, damage, or legal liability. Interim occupancy agreement, used if title and possession cannot be delivered at the same time. Deposit shows that you are serious about the purchase. Value, what a ready, willing, and able buyer will pay. Essential elements of value, scarcity, transferability, utility, and demand. Stud. Principle of substitution, the basis for the market data approach to appraisal. The maximum value of property usually established by the cost of acquiring an equivalent substitute property that is the same use, design, and income. Principle of contribution, value contributed by a component or part to the total value of the whole. Principle of regression, value goes down when close to lesser properties. Principle of progression, value goes up when close to more valuable properties. Plottage, the increased value resulting from consolidating. Assemblage, joining several parcels to form a larger parcel. Appraisal, estimate of value. Narrative appraisal, the most comprehensive report. Market data comparison approach, comparing properties of similar size and condition in the same area. Cost replacement approach, how much would it cost to replace it brand new? Capitalization income approach, converts income into value. Gross multipliers, price divided by rent. Acre, 43,560 square feet. Depreciation, loss in value due to any cause. Physical deterioration, wear and tear. Functional obsolescence, poor design. Economic obsolescence, due to causes outside of the property lines. Interest, rent on money. Leverage, using other people's money. Amortization, spreading payments over time. Negative amortization, payments do not cover the interest, thus the debt goes up. Balloon loan, large final payments before the loan is fully amortized. Appreciation, increase in value. Construction loan, interim loan. Takeout loan, long-term loan. Obligatory advances, also known as draws, the disbursement of money over the period of a construction loan, which the lender is bound to make under the term of the loan. Interim loan, short-term loan. Subject to seller liable. Assume buyer liable. Hypothecate, putting up collateral to secure the debt of another. Subordination Clause. Current claim on any debts will take priority over any other claims. Subordination is the act of yielding priority. Prepayment Clause states when and the terms of the prepayment penalty. Prepayment penalty regulates what the borrower is allowed to pay off and when. Primary mortgage market, where borrowers and mortgage originators come together. Secondary mortgage market, resale marketplace. FHA insures loans. VA loan, a loan program for veterans where no down payment is needed. GNMA, Ginnie Mae, expand fund for mortgages that are insured or guaranteed by other federal agencies. Freddie Mac buys mortgages on the secondary market, pools them, and sells them. This is Joe from PrepAgent. Remember, learn your vocabulary using as few words as possible. For more information on how to pass your exam, be sure to go to PrepAgent.com.